Going to be looking at combining shapes together to make new shapes, and this is called creating compound shapes or compound paths. So I've got 3 artboards here. This is activity 231 start. That's the document you should have open. So focusing first on artboard 1, this is just a normal letter just created with the type tool. You're going to learn about typography soon, and if you look at it, try and guess how many shapes make up this letter. So if you have a look carefully, you'll see there's an outer shape, there's 2 inner shapes, and together they're combined in a particular way to create the letter B. So let's actually deconstruct this. So with the selection tool, just click once on the letter and then right click on it and choose Create Outlines. That just turns it into shapes instead of editable text. And then go to Object, Compound Path, Release, and then Object, Ungroup. Now if you click away and with your selection tool you drag on these objects, you'll see that the components that make up that letter are actually 3. So you can see that even with text, compound shapes are necessary to create those interesting shapes with holes cut out of them and things like that. So we can actually build our own custom B by putting these back in a special way. So you can try this with me. So I'm just going to put these back in an interesting way, select the whole lot, and go to Object, Compound Path, Make. And so I've made my own custom compound shape. So that's basically the principle of compound shapes, but we can take this a lot further. So I'm going to go to Artboard 2. And on Artboard 2, we're going to build our own logo using compound shapes. So I want you to take the ellipse tool and just click once on your page and enter the values 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters and press OK. If you're not in millimeters, you can right click on your ruler, and if you can't see a ruler, you can press Command or Control R and right click on your ruler and choose millimeters. Okay, so we've got our first shape. With the shape selected, I want you to just press D, and that creates the default fill and stroke, which is a white fill and a black stroke. So we're going to move this over a little bit, and then holding Alt or Option, drag a copy overlapping like that, and then press Command or Control D to make duplicates. Then I want you to take 3 of these and Alt drag copies like that. Now I want you to resize a few of these. So I'm just going to take this one and I'm going to hold down Shift, just make it a bit smaller, and let's go like that. This one can maybe be even a bit smaller. Okay. And then I want you to take your rectangle tool and draw a rectangle over the bottom bit of this. So I think you can see where we're going with this. We're wanting to create a cloud shape. So I'm going to select all of these first, and you'll see in my properties panel at the bottom I have Pathfinder and I have 4 operations here. I'm going to choose the first operation, which is click to unite. Then I'm going to select everything that's left and I'm going to use the second operation, which is minus front. Okay, so now I have my little cloud shape. So I'm going to take that and put it down here for the time being. I want to now make a sun to go behind my cloud. So I'm going to hold down the rectangle tool, go to star, and I'm going to click and drag, and then I'm going to, before I release my mouse, I'm going to use my up arrows to add quite a few points to it, and then use Command or Control to adjust the length of the outer radius. So we're looking for something like that. If you want to be exactly the same as mine, then you're going to just click and enter a value of 60 for radius 1, 13 for radius 2, and 36 for the number of points. Okay, so that will give you exactly what I've got. Right, so now we've got the sun. We're going to take our ellipse tool and we're going to move until we see the word center in the center of the sun, and then Shift, Alt or Option, drag so that we create a perfect circle from the center out to make a circle that is a little bit bigger than the inner radius of the sun. And then we're going to duplicate that. So Object, Transform, Move, and we're going to move it by 0 and 0, so it's going to be exactly where it was before. Sorry, that's incorrect, just cancel that. Object, Transform, Scale, and we're going to enter a uniform scale of 70%. I'm going to press copy. So now we have a smaller circle and a bigger circle. So what I want you to do is select the bigger circle, hold down Shift, click on the star, and then choose minus front. So we've made that little sun shape. Then we're going to select the whole thing and we're going to say unite so that it's one object. And now we can put our little logo together. So holding Shift, I'm going to resize it, position it there, and I'm going to put the cloud there. I'm going to fill the cloud with a light gray, and I'm going to fill the sun with a sunny yellow, and I'm going to move the sun behind. So arrange, send to back, and let me just make that a bit bigger. Okay, so you can see how you can use just basic primitive shapes and combine them in interesting ways using the Pathfinder. Now bear in mind you also have a Pathfinder panel, which is pretty much the same as what you find in your properties panel when you select multiple objects. Okay, so that's one way of combining shapes. So we're going to move to Artboard 3 now, and we're going to do one other way of combining shapes into compound shapes. That you've guessed by now that what we're wanting to do here is to create a little watering can icon. So all the shapes that you see here are just primitive shapes or slightly adjusted primitive shapes. You would know how to do this already. So what we're going to do is we're going to select everything here, and we're going to go to this tool here called the Shape Builder tool. And as soon as I select that tool and I move over these objects, you'll see that they get shaded in a darker shade. So the way that this tool works is pretty easy. If I click and drag over things, I unite them. If I Alt or Option click and drag over things, I subtract them. So I'm going to hold down Option or Alt and click there to subtract, subtract, subtract. Then without holding Option or Alt, I'm going to drag from there all the way here to there to there, and release. To unite those, I'm going to drag across there and then up into there to unite. Then I'm going to hold down Option or Alt and I'm going to subtract there, and I'm going to subtract there and there and there. And then finally, without holding Option or Alt, I'm going to combine or drag across those three. So very, very quickly, I've created an interesting little icon. I can fill that with a color. And let's do that as well. Okay, that should probably be red. Okay, so I want you to try that. And if you mess it up, just undo and just try it again and practice it until you get it right. So all in all, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and see you next time.